He was falling apart until this happened. Don't scroll. If you're listening to this right now, this story found you for a reason. Just breathe, relax, and let this message sink into your heart tonight. The beginning, the breaking point. In a quiet town called Oluwoye, there lived a young man named Tomiwa Adekunle. On the surface, Tomiwa looked like every other young man, tall, calm, polite, humble. But beneath that calm, something was slowly collapsing inside him. Every morning he woke before the sun, sat on the edge of his bed, and stared at the wall for a few seconds. Not because he was meditating, but because he was tired of fighting battles nobody could see. He wasn't always like this. A year ago, Tomiwa was full of dreams. He wanted to build a small design business, help his parents, and live a simple, meaningful life. People called him the boy with fire in his eyes, but that fire had dimmed. Life began hitting him with problems faster than he could breathe. First, his company shut down. Then his father collapsed one hot afternoon and required expensive treatment. His younger brothers depended on him. And worst of all, the woman he loved left him because, in her words, "You're not the man you used to be." That one sentence lived rent-free in his heart. Tomiwa tried to hide his frustration, but the weight was too much. At night, he lay awake listening to his thoughts like thunder in his chest. In the morning, he forced himself to smile so people wouldn't worry, but inside, he felt himself breaking. The night that changed everything. One evening, after another long, disappointing day, Tomiwa walked aimlessly through the town. He didn't tell anyone where he was going. He didn't even know himself. He just walked. Through dusty streets, past quiet shops, past people laughing even though he felt no joy inside. Eventually, he found himself at an old bridge. The same bridge he used to play near as a child. The same river that once made him laugh, now reflected back his sadness. He stood there, leaning on the railing, letting the cold wind hit his face. For the first time in his life, he whispered, "I'm tired. I don't know how much longer I can do this." His hands trembled, his chest felt tight. Tears fought their way out, but he didn't wipe them. As he turned to leave, something strange happened. Across the bridge, he saw a dim lantern glow. And sitting quietly by the riverbank was an old man. His face wrinkled like he had lived through 1,000 storms. The old man looked up at him and said, "Come here, son. You're carrying thunder in your heart." Tomiwa froze. He had never seen the man before, but something about his voice felt safe. He walked closer. The old man smiled gently, the kind of smile that melts a frozen heart. "Sit," he said. The mysterious old man. Tomiwa sat on a rock beside him. For a few seconds, neither spoke. Only the sound of water flowing filled the silence. Finally, the old man asked, "Why are your shoulders so heavy?" Tomiwa tried to force a smile. "I'm fine." The old man chuckled softly. "No one comes to this bridge at night when they are fine." Tomiwa's lips trembled, his voice cracked as he whispered, "I've lost everything. I'm trying, but I keep failing, and I feel like life is punishing me." The old man nodded, as if he had heard that same pain 1,000 times. Then he asked, "Do you know what happens when a seed is planted in darkness?" Tomiwa shook his head. "It grows," the man said, "but it doesn't grow in comfort. It grows by breaking the shell that once protected it. It grows by pushing through darkness, heat, pressure, and soil that tries to bury it." He paused, then added, "You think you're falling apart, but maybe you're breaking out of your shell." Those words shot through Tomiwa's chest like lightning. The old man continued, "Pain is not a sign that life hates you. Sometimes, pain is the door you must walk through to reach your next level." Tomiwa felt tears rolling down again, but this time, they felt cleansing. The old man stood up slowly and handed Tomiwa a small stone, smooth, cold, and beautiful. "When rivers hit rocks," he said, "they don't stop. They flow around them. Remember this stone anytime life tries to block your path." Before Tomiwa could reply, the old man picked up his lantern and walked away, disappearing into the darkness like a spirit. The transformation. That night, something shifted inside Tomiwa. Not a big miracle, not a loud breakthrough, just a small spark, the kind that starts quiet revolutions. For the first time in months, he went home with hope. He slept peacefully, and when morning came, he didn't lie in bed staring at the wall. He got up, he cleaned the kitchen, he washed his father's clothes, he updated his CV, he started applying for new jobs. He began learning graphic design properly, not just casually. He told himself, "I may be tired, but I'm not done." Every day wasn't perfect. Sometimes he still felt discouraged. But every time doubt appeared, he held the stone in his pocket and remembered the old man's words. Flow around it. Slowly, very slowly, his life began to shift. He got a small job creating flyers, then another. Then someone asked him to design a business logo. Then a shop hired him for weekly work. Money wasn't much at first, but it was something, and something is enough to build everything. The unexpected miracle. Months passed, and Tomiwa grew better at his craft. One day, out of nowhere, he received a message from a big branding company in the city. They had seen his work online, they loved his creativity, and they wanted him for an interview. Tomiwa almost dropped his phone. At first, he didn't believe it, but he went for the interview. He walked into a bright office, nervous but determined. The manager looked through his portfolio and said, "You're talented, but what really impresses me is that you didn't quit." 2 days later, he got the job. Not just a small job, a real breakthrough. When he told his father, the old man cried tears of joy. His mother danced around the house, his brothers hugged him. Tomiwa felt something he had forgotten existed: pride, purpose, peace. Returned to the bridge. One evening, after work, Tomiwa returned to the old bridge, the same place he once stood feeling broken. He looked around but didn't see the old man. He waited for minutes. Nothing. But he did find something that made him smile. A wooden stool, old, unmoved, like it had been waiting for him. He sat on it, held the smooth stone in his hand and whispered, "Thank you, whoever you are." The river flowed calmly beneath him. Tomiwa closed his eyes and whispered, "I didn't fall apart, I broke open, and I grew." If this story touched your heart tonight, please subscribe to my channel so you never miss another story like this. And now let me ask you, what was the hardest moment in your life? And how did it change you? Share your answer in the comments. Your story might inspire someone tonight.